y'all? It's your girl Amanda, and we are back with another episode of Mandy's Entertainment Reviews. So, for this episode, we are reviewing the Amazon Prime documentary Jerry West, the logo. So, yes, Jerry West, as in the infamous NBA logo. So, again, it was released on Prime. It was actually released a couple days ago, so April 2026. It was only one part, and it was about like maybe 2 hours long. I'm estimating. And what did I think about this documentary was that, I'm a sports fan, right? And I like basketball. I like football. I think those are like the main two sports I really watch on TV. And I really started watching sports when I was like in the sixth grade because I used to play basketball myself. And I would get into like a lot of like basketball conversations. Who's the best? Who is the best? I would hear names like Pete Maravich, James Worthy, Elgin Baylor, and I would hear, Jerry West. Jerry West to me would be like the last name reviewed, right? And but I didn't know a lot about Jerry West. I literally found out 5 years ago that the logo was based off him. So with this documentary, I did learn a lot about Jerry West. It covered his full life, his childhood, his time in college, his time with the Lakers. And he was one of those basketball players that only played for one team. And in my opinion, it's like a handful of those players that play for one team. And most of the players that I know mostly play for the Lakers. So you got Jerry West, Kobe Bryant. It's another basketball player out there that played with one team from their whole career. But y'all know what I'm trying to say. Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson. I don't remember him playing for no other team either. So, you know, we learned about his time with the Lakers as a professional basketball player. And then after he retired from basketball, that's when we learned about his time working as a executive or a general manager, if you will. Also, fun fact about this documentary, Kenya Barris directed it. Yes, the blackish, grownish, mix-ish Kenya Barris. He did a really great job, actually. He said in the documentary that it was his first documentary he's ever done because he mostly did like movies and TV shows. And honestly, I think he should really do more documentaries. Another fun fact about Kenya Barris is that he is actually from LA. So I think we need another like well, I thought this at first, but then I remembered there is another Wilt Chamberlain documentary, I believe. I thought he should do a Wilt Chamberlain documentary, but it should be another like black documentary for another black Laker documentary, I should say. Probably Magic Johnson or I don't know, somebody like, that was not from the present day Lakers, but from like the past Lakers, like during the time of Kobe and Shaq and all them. So as you guys know, I do my documentary reviews in KWL, know, want to know, and learned. So let's start with the know. Let me take a sip of water first. All right. So what do I know about Jerry West? This list was very short, and it took me a while to even like kind of think about it. I'm like, what do I know about Jerry West? It's not a lot, honestly. It's really not. So I know that Jerry West is the influence for the logo of the NBA. Anytime you wear an NBA jersey, when you watch an NBA game, all that stuff, you see that logo, is Jerry West. And it's the second record. Well, to me, this is my opinion. Second recognizable logo behind the Jordan logo, the Air Jordan logo. You see it on all the Jordans. He played for the Lakers. He was, portrayed in the Showtime TV show on HBO that I think was like a biographical situation about Magic Johnson. And he was the general manager of the Lakers during the Showtime era. So the Showtime era was Magic, Byron Scott, James Worthy, all of them. He was at Kobe Bryant's funeral. They did show him at Kobe Bryant's funeral. and he died at the age of 86. So he is no longer with us. And it was revealed in the documentary that that documentary was his last interview before he passed away. So, what did I want to know about Jerry West? I wanted to know about his playing career because, again, whenever I would have like basketball conversations with people, Jerry West's name was always the last one, and it wasn't a lot to go with it after. That's just my opinion. Y'all probably had basketball conversations where people talked about Jerry all day long, but when I would talk to people, mainly it was people my age because I'm from when I was like one, Kobe, Allen Iverson, Ray Allen, all of them was drafted, right? So I didn't know a lot about, Jerry West. What year was he? It was decided that he was going to be a logo. I wanted to know more time as his executive, working for, the. I find out, like, I'll get into that later, but he did work with different teams besides the Lakers. Did he stay with the Lakers a long time? What were his final days like if it was covered? And what was his thoughts on the Showtime TV show that was the biographical show with Magic Johnson? So I have a pretty decent amount of things I learned. As I always say, what I learned may or may not answer my question. And if it doesn't answer my question, that's perfectly okay. All right, so the first thing I learned that he is described to be a perfectionist. So I totally get that because, again, we basketball talks. The only way, in my opinion, that an athlete would get into basketball talks amongst us normal people is if they were really good. So him being a perfectionist and him being good and being in basketball conversations, it goes hand in hand in my opinion. Need I say more about that? He played golf after basketball, or during his off time. I don't know why, but a lot of athletes do golf. I don't get why. Because, like, I know Michael Jordan played golf a lot. I don't know if Magic Johnson played golf a lot. Vernon Maxwell, another great GOAT, and he is hilarious as hell. Vernon Maxwell plays golf as well. So I'm like, why do basketball players just decide to play basketball after like playing or play golf after playing basketball? I'm sorry. But yeah, he played golf after basketball. He was born in West Virginia, so he was born in Shaylin, is that how you say it? Shaylin, West Virginia. It was the 1930s. It was in poverty, and also it was segregated because it was the South. Because West Virginia is the South, actually. I always thought he was from like Alabama or something. I heard him talk a couple times. The accent. I always thought he was from Alabama, but not West Virginia. So I learned he was from there. Again, this documentary was produced by Kenya Barris. Did a great job. It was filmed right before his 85th birthday. And again, it was his last interview. He paid the mortgage off in his parents' home in West Virginia. I thought that was really nice. He didn't really go into detail of why, like, or when of the time he was paying the mortgage off. Was it during the time he was playing basketball and all that stuff? But he also said that the mortgage was like $12,000. Like, man, inflation has really ruined our lives, right? Because if my parents like freaking mortgage was $12,000, now I wouldn't pay the whole thing off. I'd probably go half, and then they could go half and then pay it off quicker. But that was really generous, and at a time where it's like it was really nice, and they probably didn't have to worry about, you know, moving or not being able to afford it. So he paid off their mortgage for his parents' house. He couldn't play football because he was too skinny. And it was so cute that the way that he described it. So most of the documentary had like animated imagery. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it was basically, like cartoons and stuff reenacting the stories he would tell. And one of them was him describing himself as a kid because he was too skinny. The uniform and the helmet and everything was just too big for him. And the cartoon that they did it with was just cute. Um, he held every assist record in the NBA until Magic broke them. I didn't know that. Yeah, we really need another Magic, or if there isn't one, we need a Magic Johnson documentary. And I think Kenya Barris should do it. I think Kenya Barris should do the documentary. He hated school. I think like the most genius people hate school, right? Like the most, I mean, there's successful people that love school, but a lot of people that, I watch documentaries on, they hated school and they just went on to do great things. That goes to show everybody that school ain't for everybody. So school wasn't for me, but I had to stay because my mama would have killed me if I dropped out. And plus, I stayed in because I ain't had nothing else to do. um, he had a brother that went to the Korean War. So I think this was like during the time of the draft, and he went to the Korean War, and he found out that his brother passed away from, like, I guess another person or a neighbor or somebody, like somebody who was not his family, or I don't know if they still do it to this day, but people from the war or the military, they come and they knock on, like, the person's family's door, and they tell them that your loved one is dead. I thought that was messed up to hear that your brother passed away from someone else that's not family. But at the same time, I had to remember. I mean, there were telephones back then, but this gentleman, he grew up in poverty, so they probably didn't have one, or you know what I mean. So I have to, like, when I watch this documentary, I really have to keep in mind that, like, he was poor, like he probably didn't have, like, even the basics like a phone, or I mean, I'm sure he had electricity, but either way, it's still jacked up that you had to find out from someone outside your house about your brother. So, and actually, he named his son David West after his brother. So I thought that was really sweet. And regarding his brother's passing, they actually brought his brother's casket home, and they had his parents, or I guess his father. I don't know about his mother. His father sat the casket next to the Christmas tree. So a weird, morbid thing to do. And, Jerry would talk about how he would go to sleep and his brother's casket with his brother in it was in the next room next to the Christmas tree. It was just unsettling. But at the same time, it's like maybe the father was grieving, but not in a way that he couldn't show it. So that was very heavy. And because of his brother's passing, that's when basketball became an outlet for him, especially in high school. And he said he had a minimum of 35 points per game. Now, y'all gotta understand, you can shoot up to, I've seen, like, the highest basketball score I've seen in the NBA is probably 115. And it was probably like a Nuggets game I was watching some years ago. So 35 points per game, that's really good. It's good enough to, like, and I know this is before the ESPN days, but if you were in the NBA, like during the time of ESPN and stuff, you got 35 points per game, your butt is going on that bottom line. So that's really good. Let's see. I only got like a page of notes. This is crazy. Let's see. So there is actually a piece of footage of Jerry playing in college. I have to remember, like, 86 years old, that's when he passed away, was not the 86 years old of like 20 years ago where there was no TV. So Jerry started playing college basketball in like the 50s, and TV was around, like, by then TV was around for like maybe 5 to 10 years. So there is footage of him playing in college. And here's one thing I didn't know about him. He played in the Olympic Games and he won a gold medal. See, I didn't know that. I didn't even know there were Olympic basketball games in the 60s. I always thought that it started in like the 70s or 80s with Magic, Jordan, and Larry. But nope, it was going on since the 60s. And then after that, that's when he started to play his NBA career. In 1960, that's when he moved to Los Angeles. And here's another weird thing about how far technology has come. So games were rarely on TV. So back in the 60s, if you study media, there was only like maybe 2 or 3 channels: NBC, ABC, and NBC, ABC, CBS. Now, I think CBS did football for a long time on TV. ABC, I don't know what they did, and NBC, they probably did football and some other sport, but the games were rarely on TV. So they had to follow the game through paper, the newspaper, and the radio. You know what's crazy? One of them is now dead in 2026. I don't see a lot of people read newspapers in 2026. I mean, I probably see a newspaper or something. I don't know, because my neighborhood don't do it anymore, but they used to wrap up like little newspapers and throw them on the porch. But it wasn't a paper boy that did it. It was like some random person in their car and they would just throw it on the porch. But I guess to cut back on printing and people are reading stuff digitally now on phones and tablets, they don't do it anymore. So we don't know the score of we'll know the score of the Bulls game the next day, or we could just like, oh, we're out and about, we're at dinner and we missed the Bulls game. What's the score? Google Chicago Bulls, and they probably lost that night. So that's why paper is dead now. But radio, I think, is still pretty much alive. I used to actually listen to Bulls games on the radio back when Derrick Rose was playing. I didn't have, well, no, I don't know if all the Bulls games would come on like WGN or whatever, so I would turn into the AM station. And it was just like, back in the day, they give the play by play of the Bulls, they give their commentary with a very mono sound, if you will. So, yeah. So, yeah, but in the 60s, there was no basketball games on TV, rarely. They had to stay in motels. Yes, motels. Hotels is luxury, motels is bleh. I always thought that millionaires, there was always millionaires in the NBA, even from the beginning of time. But nope, there was no money in the NBA, even when it first started, because it started in like the 60s. I even heard some players even held down a job while playing. So, but I guess the money and stuff didn't really start rolling in until like maybe Magic Johnson's era or something. Because that's when Jerry Buss bought the Lakers for like 67 million, which I did put in my learned list because it was back in the day. Like 67 million was a lot of money. I mean, it's still a lot of money today, but it was like $1 billion compared to like what's like compared for today. So LA in the 60s, Jerry West said was weird, so I guess LA has always been a weird city. I love Los Angeles, but to me, it has been getting weirder over time. That's why I don't go as much. And it's gotten a little bit more dirtier and crowded, if it's me. If it's just me, I hope not it's just me, but fun fact, y'all. So, y'all know I went to LA like a couple years ago, and we were walking on the Hollywood Star Street thing. Hollywood Walk of Fame. I'm sorry, I can't think right now. So, we were walking on the Hollywood Walk of Fame trying to find Michael Jackson's star. We find Michael Jackson's star, and this lady who was on like a electric scooter or something, she ran over my pinky toe. And I had pinky toe pain for like a week after I came home from the trip. So that's why I say it's gotten a little crowded and weird for me. So I would love to go again, but I'm just gonna stay in like the bougie areas now. And then if I want to see something, I just drive past it or something. The LA smog affected his health. I don't know. I don't think I ever experienced the smog. So if you've experienced the smog, if you're from LA, please tell me if that's a true like connection there, that the smog affected his health. And he was on Magic. He was on magazine covers in the 1960s. The reason why I put that is because I always thought like basketball magazines started in the 90s, with Slam, Hoop, ESPN. Those magazines I used to read as a kid or a teenager, but I didn't know there was actual like basketball magazines in the 60s. Richard Pryor joked about him, so he, kind of was like, I guess I arrived in the black community. Because if Richard Pryor talks about you, yep, you made it. Elgin Baylor and Wilt Chamberlain were his mentors. Wilt Chamberlain. Well, it makes sense why Wilt Chamberlain, because he scored like 100-point game, so he was really good. He just had like a very bachelor-esque lifestyle, but he was a good basketball player. There was footage of him being with his grandchildren, so he seemed like a wonderful grandfather. The reason why I put that, I guess it's because my heart is broken. I didn't really, I had grandpas growing up. I just wasn't really close to them. So I love seeing other people be grandfathers to their grandkids. It just warms my heart. Let's see. So he used to lose a lot to the Celtics in the 60s. So he said he felt so awful about it that, nobody in the West family was allowed to wear green. I'm like, dang, so I guess y'all don't celebrate St. Patrick's Day. That sucks. He said that he won a Dodge Charger as a booby gift. So I have a question. The reason why I wrote that, I have a question. So with him getting the Dodge Charger as a quote unquote booby gift, in the NBA in 2026, do NBA players get booby gifts or they just get paid their like what they're supposed to be paid? Like, I mean, should I take a Dodge Charger as a booby gift? Probably sell it or something, but it's something, it's a gift. So do they get that now in the NBA as well? That's what I wondered. And let's see. A lot of the facts I wrote down were kind of pointless. Of course, he made a half court shot against the Knicks, but it went in, but it didn't count because he still lost to them. And the reason why is because in the NBA as we know it now, that outer line, the outer curve line, so you got the half point line and you got the outer curve line. That's the 3-point line. But at that time when Jerry made that shot, that rule wasn't existent. Had that rule been existent back then and he made that shot, they would have won. But they lost because of that. But then LA finally they beat the Knicks in 1972 for their final championship win. And then he retired in 1974 after 14 years. Now, to me, I have another question. Maybe I have a lot of questions after watching this. So, LeBron James, right? LeBron James has been playing in the NBA for 23 years, right? Kobe Bryant played in the NBA for 20 years. I'm seeing a lot more longer NBA careers because to me, 14 years is a long time, but it's not as long as Kobe and LeBron, maybe Carmelo, maybe Dwayne Wade as well. Like, why are they, having all these long careers now? And then, like, back in the day, 14, 15 years was just, that's it. I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had a long career too. I believe so. But, Kareem, he retired way long after that. So, he became a coach 2 years after retirement to the Lakers. And Michael Cooper, he just said that Jerry was just not a good coach. And even Jerry in archive footage said it wasn't the best years of my life. So if you have a job that, you just aren't in it, you don't really do a good job. I think that's very obvious, right? So, which is weird because, in the NBA, what I've seen growing up, if you sucked as a coach, you get fired. But I guess Jerry knew in his heart, so I guess he just saved everyone the headache and was like, I'm just going to quit because this isn't for me. And it was a crazy time for them working for him working in the NBA because his first wife would tell like the press, I wouldn't see him for weeks. He had a crazy schedule and blah, blah, blah. So, and he was strict too. Like he didn't want no noise in the house on game days. He didn't want to be bothered. So that explains everything. Another thing that Jerry said in the interview, or it is an interview, but the documentary. Why do I want to say documentary? I mean, people do say that way, but I would sound so weird saying that. But he said that, when he comes around his sons now, he would see the damage of a father not being around. And that took a lot of guts to hear him say that. And also, I wish a lot of fathers who weren't around would say that too. Or if they first recognize it, then say it. That would be owning up to it, in my opinion. So that just took a lot to say that. That's my opinion. So then after that, he divorced his first wife. Then he got married to Karen West. And to me, I think from the little I've seen Karen, she was probably in the documentary for like no more than 20 minutes. Karen seems like a really, really nice lady. She seems like a really nice stepmom. And she would learn things about her husband. Like, there's something in there that Jerry said that he never heard his father say, I love you. And Karen even said it herself. Like, she felt bad for him. He was a sad guy and all that stuff. So after he coached and played in the NBA and all that stuff, so he went on to recruit high school and college players. Now, I don't know how old some of y'all are out there, but I'm gonna tell y'all this, and it'll maybe not blow your mind. So there was a time in the NBA where if you were just that good, now let me say that again. If you were just that good, you could go from high school to the NBA. Like literally, you could sign your NBA contract days, like right when you get out your high school cap and gown. You can get an NBA, or you could go to the NBA. Kobe Bryant, um, Dwight Howard. I want to say Lou Williams from the Underground Lounge podcast. He used to play in the NBA. I think he went straight from high school to the NBA. Like, you could do that. But then it stopped probably like in 2005 when, God rest the dead, David Stern kind of like just flipped the script on everything. Now you have to do a year in college. You have to, you know, you still have to be just that good, but you still got to go to college for a year. So that's what you could do back in the day. Um, I learned that James Worthy was drafted in 1982. I always thought he was drafted in the like 79, not 82. So that was a shock to my brain, because I don't know why I always thought that. And Jerry was the architect of Showtime. So Byron Allen, Magic Johnson, James Worthy. That was his first dynasty. And I didn't know where they were going with this in the documentary. I'm like, okay, that's his first dynasty. All right, fine, whatever. Showtime. They win their championships as well. And then they win 5 championships in the 80s. So that's the first dynasty. So then that's going on. And then 91, that's when Magic Johnson, he, had to do that speech where he said, I have HIV. I have to retire. Jerry West, he took that very hard, but then he ended up being a support system to Magic during that time, which I thought was just a beautiful thing. And they show like pictures of their relationship. It made me tear up a little bit. So then they go on to his second dynasty, the Renaissance. Kobe, Shaq, I want to say Rick Fox, maybe Derek Fisher too. Yeah. So he created the Renaissance. Jerry knew that Kobe would be a star. I guess a lot of people would say that, but maybe he meant that. Because, again, Kobe Bryant, high school, straight to NBA. And they traded Vlade Divac to get him. Now, that part I didn't know. Now, I knew, because Kobe was originally drafted by the Hornets. I don't know if they were I think they were in Charlotte at the time. So, he was drafted by the Charlotte Hornets, but there was a trade. Now, I always heard the story of, okay, trade for Kobe Bryant, Kobe to the LA Lakers, but I just never knew who they traded him for. But turns out it's Vlade Divac. So, and then after that, that's when they signed Shaq. And if you guys ever see like the Magic City documentary, and Shaq told the story of, I got my contract while I was sitting in Magic City. So it was the contract to his Laker contract. I don't remember him saying like what team, or he probably did. I reviewed it and everything. I don't remember if I said it, but he got the call while in Magic City. So, and let's see. After the Renaissance, he went to go work as the president of operations in Memphis. Fun fact, so the Memphis Grizzlies used to be the Vancouver Grizzlies. I don't know why they would choose Memphis though. But then again, Memphis does have a lot of history there. So he put Memphis on the map. He was the exec of the year over there. And then after that, because the way they described him doing, for Memphis, he did a lot for Memphis. He built the new arena, all that stuff. And then I guess that didn't really last a very long time like it did with the Lakers, because when I started watching the NBA, like nobody really cared about the Memphis Grizzlies. And this was in like 2006. So I don't know, maybe he died down after a while or something, but he went to the Warriors in 2011. So he was responsible for the Warriors championship team. So he brought Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. And y'all remember, I was probably like in high school. I remember the Warriors, I felt like was always in the playoffs and finals. So Jerry West was a Klay Thompson fan. And the reason why I put that is because I wonder if Jerry West was still here, like how would he feel about Klay Thompson and Megan Thee Stallion? He seems very supportive in all his players, so he probably would be like a big supporter of their relationship as well. So the Golden State Warriors, with him, won 4 championships. I don't remember all of them, but I just remember them being in the NBA championships all the time. And then his last team was the Clippers, and Steve Ballmer, their owner, is like crazy as hell. Now I got a question, and this for my people in LA. Why do y'all treat the Clippers like the redheaded stepchild? Like I went to LA a couple times. It's all about the Clippers, all about the all about the Lakers, all about the Lakers. Laker jerseys, Laker this, Laker Nation, Laker that. I don't see nothing about no Clippers. Y'all be treating the Clippers all wrong. Like y'all be wrong about the Clippers. So then they go, at towards the end, they do talk about Kobe Bryant's passing, because Kobe Bryant was such a big part of the Laker dynasty, brought them championships and all that stuff. So I didn't know that Kobe was really close to the West family. He used to hang with his son. I forgot the son's name, but it wasn't Johnny. I don't think it was Johnny. It was one of the older ones, and they were friends for a long time. So when they reflected on that, it was just, pretty heartbreaking. So Jerry actually worked for the Lakers, worked with and for the Lakers for 40 years. I always thought it was like 25 or 30, but it was actually 40. And he was really close, or not really close, but he did speak at Jerry Buss's funeral. I didn't know Jerry Buss even had a funeral. I just heard he passed away, and then that was that. The NBA logo was designed in 1969 with Jerry West in mind. So, yeah, 1969. So that is 57 years old. And it looks so new every time I see it. It could have been like designed in 1990 or something, but it was designed in 1969. And there were actually other versions of the NBA logo that made no sense, like a long body dunk that looked weird, and some other positions I forgot, but it didn't look clean, it didn't look intact, it just looked weird. And he was inducted in the Hall of Fame, the Basketball Hall of Fame, for the third time, posthumously. He actually had died 2 months before it happened, and no athlete at his college can wear his number, and the only person that, oh, and across all sports, I should say, and the only athlete that has that privilege as well at the college is the legendary Jackie Robinson of baseball. So I give this documentary a 5 out of 5. What I liked about it was the cameos. So Shaq was in it, Magic, Jordan was in it. Now y'all know Michael Jordan. Ever since he started doing that NBC on ABC, he signed on to, I think, be an analyst or something, and then he did the interview. We've been seeing a lot more of him, and then he was on TV for like NASCAR. He won something for NASCAR. We've been seeing a lot of Michael Jordan these days. So I don't know if he's going back to work or something, but we see a lot of him doing interviews and stuff. A lot of hip hop and other great music was used in the documentary. Retro basketball footage, just seeing how they used to play with their shout shout song and all that stuff. And then there were actual personal home movies from Jerry West's family and stuff featured in there. So, and it looked like a normal like household. Like, Jerry West was the general manager of the Lakers. Like, that's money. He probably had a mansion in Bel Air. Money. but his home movies look like a normal family home in the Midwest somewhere. So, what I disliked was, Kenya Barris was nervous. He was nervous about this was his first documentary. I get it, but he knocked it out the ballpark with this. So now he knows that he can do documentaries and start producing more, and then do movies and TVs as well. And also when people start talking about Kobe Bryant, because that honestly, when Kobe Bryant passed away, I didn't say anything. Like, I turned off all the TVs and stuff in my house because it was just so sad. It was just shocking, and it shocked me to my core. So, but yeah, that is my review on Jerry West, the logo. So if you want to check it out for yourself, you can watch it on Amazon Prime. It's included in your Prime subscription. And thank y'all for listening, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.